here from Glasgow University Riding Club. Welcome back to our Yoga for Riders series. We've had a little bit of a break, mostly because I sort of fell off a horse and have a minor injury. That wasn't very helpful for making a video about stretching your hips. As you're aware, our series is in support of RDA Glasgow. With restrictions easing, we're really hoping they can get back to their work providing riding and therapies for people with disabilities and other special needs. If you find the videos at all helpful, please consider donating using the Just Giving link in the description of this video. Today we're doing hips again. This is more or less the routine I do for my hips, so some of it might be quite intense, and so feel free to stay back, take a step back if it feels too much. As usual, you should feel a stretching sensation, and that might be quite painful if you're very tight in your hips, but you shouldn't feel a sharp pain. So if at any point you feel a sharp pain anywhere, take a step back and just be careful.
Okay, and let's get started. So when you're ready, just feel free to make your way into child's pose. Have your knees as wide as the mat, and just let yourself sink into the floor. Take a few deep breaths here. Really take your time to arrive. And with each exhale, just let something about your day go. Scooch over to your left, trying to keep your hips the same as they were, and take some deep breaths into the right side of your body. On your next inhale, come back to center. And inhaling again, scooch over to the right. Inhale deeply into your left side body. On your next inhale, return to center. We're going to move slowly into downward facing dog. Let your feet be wide, maybe as wide as the mat, and push yourself back and up into downward facing dog, but with a generous bend in your knees. And then slowly maybe pedal out your legs. Just feel this pose. Let the crown of your head head towards the floor between your hands. Really push your hips to the sky. Maybe move your feet to be more hip width apart. And take your right leg up into the sky, three-legged dog. Swing the leg forward, knee to chest. Keep the elevation. Swing the leg back. If it feels good, you can tilt over to stretch out your hip and the front of your body. But then let your leg sweep forward and place it between your hands with as much control as possible, runner's lunge. When you're ready, come up into high lunge, sweep your arms up. As you inhale, straighten your front leg, and as you exhale, bend down into lunge again. Inhale, straighten, exhale, lower back down. Do this a few times, however feels nice and right. And then we're going to return to runner's lunge. Easy twist. Thumping down with your left hand, reach your right hand to the sky. Try to twist to the sky, but also forward. Reach the crown of your head as far forward as you can. I'm going to twist the other way. You can turn out your foot, your back foot to 90 degrees. And slowly twist up and to the sky. If it's available to you, you can wedge your shoulder against your knee. If it's further available to you, you can bind your hands behind your back, but don't worry if this isn't accessible to you. Just feel it out and let your hips kind of get going. Remember to keep breathing and look towards the ceiling. Slowly unwind yourself and sweep your leg back to downward dog. Take a moment to take some deep breaths, really align yourself, push your hips to the sky. And it's time for the second side. Sweep your left leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. Sweep it forward, back up again. Maybe let it stretch over to the side. And then sweep it forward and place your foot between your hands, runner's lunge. Here I'm doing a modified version, which you should do at any time you feel that would be better for you. This is where my little injury comes in. Sweep your hands up to the sky, low lunge, high lunge where it feels good. Straighten your front leg on an inhale and bend again on the exhale. Just do this a few times with your breath. Here I raise my back leg as we come into an easy twist. Put your right hand down firmly on the floor, sweep your left hand up to the sky. Look towards the tips of your fingers. And twisting the other way. Turn your back foot to 90 degrees. Maybe nestle your left shoulder against your knee, right hand up to the sky. If it's available to you, feel free to take a bind behind your back. If not, don't worry about it. Just stay with one hand on the ground and one up to the sky. Just remember to keep looking up and feel like you're moving forward. Let's hop back to downward facing dog and maybe pedal out on that tension before we meet in child's pose, knees wide. Let's take a moment here, some really deep breaths. Really feel your heart beating, feel all the things that are happening in your body. Maybe correct your clothes if they've slipped up your back. Yoga realities, and just breathe. When you're ready, we're going to meet in downward facing dog. Push your hips back with all of your tips of your fingers, and then sweep your right leg up to the sky and put it down in front of you, maybe a 90-degree angle, maybe less. Pigeon upright. If it feels okay to you, maybe put a block underneath your hips or a cushion. Be very careful with this pose. It's better to try to square the hips and stay active rather than fold over and risk injuring yourself by having the alignment off. Here decide to remove the block, but keep it if you want to. Deep breath, remember to keep breathing. If you want, you can try to climb your hands onto your leg. Maybe raise one hand to the sky, maybe raise the other. This is really hard, so don't worry if it's not available to you. From here, if it feels okay, start to walk your hands forward and maybe fold over your leg. If you have another cushion, you could maybe put that under your head. Just make yourself a bit comfortable. Here I'm putting a block underneath my hips so I have something to rest on. It might be nice to feel the ground sort of come to meet you in these kind of deeper poses. Remember to keep breathing. Feel the breath flow into your hips, and as you exhale, let something go. let some tension, something nervous, whatever there is there, just let it go. Walk your hands over to the left side, see how that feels. Maybe a couple breaths here. Walk your hands over to the right side. There's also an option to twist in a pigeon. You twist towards your foot up to the sky here. But don't worry if this is not available to you. It's just me doing what feels okay for my hips. When you're ready, gently ease out of it. Maybe stretch your leg out before returning to downward facing dog, just for a breath or two. Your left leg up and back, or whatever that motion was, and place it in front of you, maybe at 90 degrees, maybe less. My left hip is 1 where my injury is, 2 my stiffer one, so I'm just setting myself up with a block again, just to see how I'm feeling. Yeah, settling in for some pigeon uprights after we've corrected our wardrobe malfunctions. Again, if it's available to you, maybe you'll want to walk your hands onto your leg. Maybe raise one hand up to the sky, maybe raise the other. But don't worry if that's not available to you. This took me a long time. Here I decide to put the block back as I walk my hands forward and fold over my leg. Deep breaths. Let your breath flow into your hip. And as you exhale, let something go. Maybe walk your hands over to the left side. Maybe walk your hands over to the right side. If it's available to you, maybe try to twist. But, don't worry if that's not available to you. That's totally fine. And when you're ready, walk your hands to the middle. Carefully, gently come out of the pose. Maybe stretch your legs to the sky. And let's meet in child's pose. Notice how things might have changed in your hips. Maybe you're feeling better. Maybe you've discovered you're really tight. Maybe one hip is so much tighter than the other one. All of these are fine. It's just a reflection of our lives. When you're ready, sweep your legs forward into a bound angle pose. So, knees out to the side, feet connected in front of you. Maybe grab your feet, maybe grab your knees, your calves. And as you inhale, reach forward, nose to your toes, chest forward. Maybe use some gentle leverage from your elbows to get more forward. When you're ready, maybe move your feet even more forward for shooting star pose, shifting the stretch, maybe a little bit more up the lower back, whatever feels good. Remember to keep breathing here as you strive forwards. And going to spend a little bit of time in just a forward fold. I've only grabbed one leg here. I felt like a strange twitch in one of my legs, so just trying to work a little bit on that. Give a little bit more space for that leg to just exist as it is. That's all fine. From here, we're going to swing over into something that might look more like traditional hip stretches. I really like sitting on a block for this because my hips are very tight. Even if I can do some fancy looking things, this is like literal no-go for me, but having a block under my hips helps me have a nice position with my back. And yes, this is about as far as I can fold when I start my stretches. This is it. Inhaling, gonna put our hands up and lean over one leg. Keep a generous bend in your knee if you need to. And just drive your nose towards your toes. If it's available to you, maybe grab your foot. Feel free to enjoy this very wacky perspective. I shoot with like kind of a wide angle lens, but that obviously means if I miss the mark with some of the alignment, then the angles are quite wacky. Yeah, if we've moved on to our other leg, just grab your foot, your ankle, your shin, whatever's available. Deep breaths. For this, I quite like to fold one leg in, makes it a bit less intense, and going to try to lean over your leg. Maybe you can wedge your elbow against the inside of your knee as you lean sideways over your leg. If you can widen your seat, feel free. Maybe you can reach your foot if you try really hard. Maybe you can reach your foot with the hand that is above your head. I certainly can't, but maybe you can. Switching sides. Maybe use a bit of leverage with your elbow against your leg to turn yourselves to face the sides, so your side body comes to the sky. Here I've elected to put my other hand behind my head to try to get that twist to the sky. Whatever feels good. As I said, it's all about where your body is at the moment. This is the stuff that I'm working on. Here I'm shifting my block a bit and I'm just going to stretch forward. Maybe what feels good is crawling your hands forward. Maybe it's grabbing your legs. But try to sit and breathe. Maybe keep a bend in your legs. Bend enough that you can grab your toes maybe. Pull yourself forward. Literally whatever you can do. Try to avoid rocking back and forth like gymnastic style. Just find something that works for you and breathe. Man, this perspective's really trippy, I'm sorry. When you're ready, maybe remove your block. And maybe see if you can get your stretch to be a bit wider. See if something's changed. Hips take a long time to lose off. So once you sit for a while, you might find that some more mobility is available to you. It certainly tends to happen for me. From here, gently ease yourself out of the pose. We're actually going to make our way to standing, and maybe stretch your arms to the sky. Feet as wide as the mat, turn your heels up. We're going to try to go for Malasana, the yoga squat. You can keep your heels lifted if that feels better. You can put something underneath your heels. We're just going to try to squat down, knees pointing out. Maybe bring your hands to prayer and use your elbows and your knees to push against each other. If it feels good, you can put a block underneath your bum and sort of just sit on it and try not to fall over. But whatever you're doing, just deep breaths, just live with where you are today. If you need to catch yourself on the floor with your hands, it's also fine. And sit a bit higher. It's all good. And from here, straighten your legs and fold forward just for a moment. Maybe move your hips a little bit. And when you're ready, we're just going to sit back down, Malasana. It might be helpful to look down or close your eyes, maybe focus a bit more on the sensations inside your body than what you can see on the outside. The more you press your knees against your elbows, the more heat and strength you're building, so that might help. And if you feel uncomfortable, just come up, stretch forward. And well done, that's you having survived Malasana. This used to be so painful for me. From here, we've made our way onto our backs, and a little bit of happy baby. Happy baby is such a great pose. Grab your feet, or just grab behind your knees if that's all that's available to you. That's actually fine. It's a nice restorative pose. Maybe rock a little bit side to side. Just some deep breaths. And feel how you're feeling. When you're ready, squeeze your knees to your chest. Maybe roll up around a little bit more on your back. Maybe some little circles for your lower back. Worked very hard. And when you're ready, just going to take a deep breath. Lay your feet out on the ground. Jiggle your shoulders underneath you. Hands out to the sides. Palms facing the sky. Shavasana. And just let everything go. As usual, you can stay here as long as you like. When you're ready, roll to the side, come up into a comfortable seat. Any seat that feels good, and just maybe take a moment to thank yourself for doing this practice, for taking the time to take care of yourself. And next week is our last video, so we'll see you then. Namaste.